Good morning everyone. Today I am going to explain about the MSP 430 kit. So what are the features you have in this MSP 430 kit is this is your alphanumeric display, and next comes your keyboard here. This is a 4-digit 7-segment display, and next you have LEDs here, and next on the top of it you have DIP switches with the LED indication here. Next, coming to the interface part, we can interface a DC motor here, and next to that you have a stepper motor here, and next comes your AD converter, and then you have a DA converter, and then we have the temperature sensors. So these are the interfacing part what we are going to do here. And apart from that you have this is a development tool for this, and here inbuilt you can just see MSP 430 here. Here lies the chip, and we have two parts here. First comes this is the debugging interface, and second half is this is the target board here. And internally I don't think you can just observe here. These are the MSP 430 pins what you can observe internally here. And one more thing, you have a SPI by-wire interface also, that is also inbuilt here. This is regarding the features what you have related to the kit, and software part will be explained by Ullas. He is going to explain about the different programming part what you have in this. So this is the superficial what we call the study related to the panel what you have for MSP 430. You just go through this, you can understand. Any doubt you can just call.
Here we are using the software, that is IAR Embedded Test Bench. So I'm just going to show the software to you all. This is the software that we are using, IAR Embedded Workbench. When you click on this, we will be getting the software will open like this. So you have got the options. The first thing that you are supposed to do is that, since this is the first experiment, I'm going to show every steps. Once after this, I think we can just follow the steps as it is every time. So whenever you are doing a program, the first thing that you are supposed to do is to go to project, create your own new project. Okay, in this, since we are doing this in terms of the assembly level coding, we are going to use the project template of ASM. So you can expand this ASM, select ASM, and then click on OK. Once after that, it will ask for a new project name to save. So I am gonna give a new project name. So I am calling it as block movement. Okay, so I am just calling it as block movement, and I am saving it. So when I save this, we will automatically get one of the window wherein we will have the workspace. This part, the left hand side, is called as the workspace, whatever you have here. This part, it is nothing but your coding place. So you are supposed to save your program here. Can you see this? Here you are supposed to show, that is asm.s43. So every time you try to save any of these things, means once after writing the program, it will ask for an option to save. You make sure that you save it with a proper folder, because this file name will be common for most of, like every time you create a new project, this file name will be constant. Okay, so after that we are supposed to type the program. So we type the program. This is the program that I have typed with all the instructions. This program will be given to you all, but I'll explain the program to you all. First thing is that we have started with the memory location, that is 3010. Let me just not go to that too big location. I'll try to specify it as 0010 itself, so that we can see that in the memory block easily. And then we are actually moving the string, my string. We are naming the my string, and the string values are started with DW, means it is a word data word. Word means it is of 16-bit. So we have got this specifying, and we all know that when we are specifying it as 0 cross, then it means that the input data is in a hexadecimal format. So we are giving the values, that is 1122, then 3344, 5566, 7788, and 99AA. And we all know that the MSB data will be stored first, and then the LSB data will be stored next. We will see that. I'll show you that also in the memory. Observe that data that you have given is 1122. Only one data I am just taking for that representation. Then we are starting from the origin, that is nothing but to save the data. because we are moving the data. So we are starting moving from data from 0010 to 0020. So we can see that the transition happening between 10 and 20 memory location. Then these are the common names. We are supposed to give the module name. So we are giving the module name as main. Then we are specifying the label for the which is visible for the other programs whenever you are using it. So that name also we are giving it as main. Then we are initiating the place where the program to start with. That we are initiating it here. Then we have got pre-declaration segments, that is C stack we are using, and then we are using the place for the program that we call it as code. Here using this C stack we are initiating the program with stack pointer. So it is supposed to run the program from the location of the program, that's why. Later on we are starting a watchdog timer to watch out the program timing and execution timing. Then we are clearing the R5. R5 is a register which has got, it could be any data, sometimes randomly there could be some data. That's why we are trying to clear the data. We are using the word clear.word. So we are clearing the word amount of data. If you just use CLR R5, then it will clear the 1 byte of data. So if you are using clear CLR.w, then it will clear 16 bits. That means it will clear 2 bytes of data, it will be cleared. Then we are moving zeros, so that means we are initiating R5 with values zeros. Then what we are doing is we are trying to move the data. So we are supposed to specify the address. We have used 0010 and it is supposed to move into 0020. So when we are using this with a bracket, we are calling it as indexed addressing mode. I have indexed addressing mode is nothing but it is the address value whatever that you have specified here will be added with the value of this register R5. Currently it is 00. Later on we are incrementing the values of R5. So that value will be added. So that address will be fetched and that will be moved into the next indexed addressing mode. So in indexed addressing mode you can use it at the source end and also at the destination end. Both are allowed. Here we are incrementing R5 once and twice because we are moving word data. At a time we are moving the complete word. So registers are actually having a movement of byte. So we are incrementing it twice. Then we are comparing the value of R5 to make sure that all the 10 values are completed. Once after the completion of all the 10 values, we are coming out of the loop to end it. Till the time that R5 reaches 10, it will be running in the loop itself. The loop name is L1. So L1 starts here and ends here. So this is what the program is all about. So after this, what you are supposed to do is you are supposed to save this file. So once you save the file, you will have to go to the project and you have to build it. Click on build. Now it will ask you to save it somewhere. So you have to open a proper file, then save it inside that as a proper name. So I am giving it as block move. So we are only speaking about block underscore movement. So I am saving it as block move. So you can see an earlier file also stored here. I am saving it here now. Saved. Now it is running and it is trying to show us the output saying that there are no errors and there are no warnings. If there are errors, it will show what is the error and where is the error. Okay, I'll try to incorporate error and show you how error is to be detected and how you are supposed to solve it. Okay, after this you are supposed to go back to project and you are supposed to debug the program. So you are supposed to use download and debug, or you can also click on Control D. So I clicked on this. Now it is running. Now we have got the screen where it runs the program. This is how it runs the program. We are able to see how our disassembly codes are there in assembly level code that you are able to observe here. This is your program initiation. You will start from the initial point only. Now to understand how the operations are happening, we are supposed to have the registers. So I'll open in view. We have got the option to open the registers. I click on register. You can able to see the registers have been opened. So which is the register we are using? We are using R5. If you observe, even though the program has not been initiated, there is some random value inside R5. Therefore, we have used this code, that is clear R5, to clear the data, and we have initiated with from 0. After that, one more thing we want is memory location. This is the memory location we are using. We have to observe whether that data is already there or not. So I'll click on view again and we'll open memory. When we open the memory, you are able to observe that in the location 0010, the data has been stored. And if you observe the data that we have given was 1122, but it has stored as 2211. That means the MSB, that means most significant byte, has been stored first, and then the least significant byte has been stored, right? So that is about, this is how the data is always stored. We all know about that in terms of microcontroller. So once after doing all these things, now you are supposed to execute the program. Since this configuration is done, you don't need to keep this build file open. You can just close it, or else you can keep it open. That's not a problem. To run this program, you can just run it once, all at once. But to understand how each and every lines are going ahead, you can go for each and every step you can run. So that is one of the best options that you can get. So the shortcut for that to run is F10. So if I click on F10, now you are able to see that the code is jumping. This green line is jumping. Every time this operation happens, we are able to observe the variation happening in the registers and the memory location. So this will initiate the watchdog timer. Then now we are clearing R5. You observe that R5 right now is, the value is 4D91 here to the right side. Now I have cleared it. Now the value has become 0, right? Again we are moving the data, that is 0 to R5. Now value of R5 is now completely 0, right? Below that we are supposed to move the data from 10 to 20. This is what is supposed to happen. That means these two values are supposed to move down to 0020. You observe, I am pressing on F10 again. You are able to see that it has moved into 20. Similarly, it will increment the value of R5. Observe, R5 is 1 now. Again R5 is 2. Now it is checking the loop. Yes, definitely the loop is still not 0. So it will go back to L1. Move the data. Similarly, increments, moves, increments, moves, increments, and moves. Now after incrementing, you observe that the value is 000A, that is exactly equal to the value that we have given, that is #0010. 10 is in decimal. This is in decimal because we have not specified H or anything. So that is equivalent to A here in R5. Therefore, it will jump out of the loop now. Observe that now it is not satisfied, so therefore it is coming out of the loop to the current loop of AND, and therefore it will end the program execution. Now you observe that the block of data that has been stored in 10 location has been moved into 20 location. I hope this is a proper explanation and you are able to understand how we are executing it. Thank you so much everyone. So in this video we are continuing with the block movement. We have seen how the block movement is done. Now we are trying to see how block exchange will be done. So if you observe in the previously we saw that the data was only stored in one location. So again I am changing the location for you all. It is 0010 and it is 0020. So now we are trying to store data in this location and also in 0020 location. So this is what we are trying to initiate. This is about the initiation that we are doing. All the other things are same. Now we are again resetting the values of R5 to 0, and now what we are doing is we are trying to move the data from 10 to the register R6. We are using it as a temporary register here. From R6 we are moving it to 20. That is what the small change that we are doing here. Okay, so you can do it in two ways. We are using two variables. One is R6, the other one is R7. Then what we are doing is we are moving R7 to 10 and R6 to 20. That is what we are doing here. But the other way around, you can also do it by using only one variable. If suppose we are using only R6, then what you can do is that I will not use this R7. Instead of that, I can directly move word, that is nothing but 0 cross 0 0 1 0, the data which is I have already stored into R6, that I am again moving it into copying that value, from 20, because it has been already, this data is not moved into any other temporary register. Therefore from 20 I can move that data into 0 cross 0 0 1 0 R5. So what happens now, the value in 20 is moved into 10, means the value that is already there in 10 has been replaced. So if you have not moved it into R6 like this, then it would have been a problem finding the data that is already there in 10, right? So by using this you can copy that value to 20 value is now copied into 10. Now from R6 you have to move the value to R20. From R6 to 20 we are moving the data. So the data is exchanged. So this is also right. If you are using two registers and if you are trying to copy, that is also right. Okay. So I'm in the program that I'm giving it to you. I'm giving both. Okay, so here right now for the explanation purpose, I'm not disturbing it now, so I'm keeping it as it is as per the definition that we are using. We are using two different registers to move the data. Okay, now I'm saving this data. Now it is saved. Now I'm going to project. I'm rebuilding it all to find if there are any errors. There are no errors. If suppose, I'll also show you that some errors here. So simply just say that I'm not using any specific number here. I'm saving it and I'm trying to run now. Okay, now it is showing the error. Can you see? It is showing total number of errors is 1 here, but it will also show that where is the error. Where is the error? Error is in error 50, undefined symbol R. Like this is the line number 50. Right, that is where we are supposed to identify place, and we are supposed to solve this. We are able to solve this line. So I'm supposed to go there, correct it now. So since we are using R7, I'm using R7. Now I'll save it and I'll rebuild it. So to find there is no error. Can you see there is no error? Now I'm supposed to go down and click on download and debug. I will open this file. I have already opened the memory location and the register location. So we will just run the program. I'm running by using F10. We are able to see that the data has already been loaded, right? Initially the data will be loaded like this. We are able to see that all the data has been moved. So I'm moving ahead, running the program now. So clearing R5, it has been reset again. Now the value of R5 means 10, that is 1111 is moved into R6. Observe R6, variation of R6 here. Here you are supposed to observe that. See that it is become 1111. Now we observe R7, it should be AAAA. Now it is changed, right? Now this data will be exchanged and you will be able to see the change here. Am I right? So clicking on this, now the 10 location is changed. Now 20 location is changed, right? Increment of R5 is done. Comparing it, going back to the loop, again the same thing. R7 gets the new value, R6 gets the new value, that is 2222, R7 gets BBBB, movement is done. Similarly, all the values are changing now. So this is about block of data exchanged. So that's all, it will end the loop and comes out. So we are able to observe that whatever the data that was there in 0010 has moved into 0020 and data into 0020 has moved into 0010. Fine, I hope it is clear. Moving ahead, I will also show you the program that is about stop. You can stop like that. Dear students, in this program we will try to see how the ascending and descending codes are, how to arrange the data in ascending and descending order. If you observe, initially we have taken the origin location, that is 0010, and we have tried to store values in random, right? We have stored every data in random. Now what we are doing is we are trying to, initially everything is same. Coming down, we are taking two registers R5 and R9 as the reset values. Why? Because we are supposed to compare these values. I'll take one value at a time and I'll try to compare this value with all the upcoming values below it. So whenever we find that the taken value is greater, we will try to exchange the value. Here if you observe, 7777 is greater than 1111, therefore we will exchange that value. Again 77 will be there in the second place and compare with 55, still it is greater, move it down. Similarly, we move it down here till the time we get 8888, and the point at where we will see that 8888 is greater, we will not move it again. So similarly, we have to recirculate it every time, and we will try to move down the maximum value to the bottommost, and then we arrange it in a proper way, right? So that is what we do here. If you observe here, we have taken 7 values, therefore we are initiating 7 values for the count to check all the 7 values at least once. Then we are initiating the value, the current value is moved into R6, incrementing it, we are going for the next value. Next value is compared with R6. If R6 is greater, it will create 1, comparison will compare value, flag will trigger 1. Since it is right now, it is not greater because R6 is the previous value, it is 7777, and this will be 1111 as per our data. This will not be triggered and it will not jump to loop 1, instead it will go down to the next line. Yes, it is not equal, therefore it jumps to L2. So when it comes to L2, here this is L2. In L2, we are able to move the data of current value into R7, and then previous value, whatever that we had, that location will take up the present value. R7 will be moved there. Again decrementing it, R6 will be moved into R5, means current value. So this is how the exchange value is done. So that will be compared every time. Once after every comparison, it will come down to L1 and it will check whether R10 has been completed. All 7 times it should be completed. It will come down, it will check whether it is 0 or not. If it is not equal, then it will go to L3 and it will repeat the process of checking the statements, completing the check statement. Okay. Likewise, we will do it for each and every value all 7 times. Let us try to see how it actually works. Going down, I have saved it. I'm supposed to rebuild it now. Rebuild it. Rebuild all. There are no errors. There are no errors. Therefore, I got to go down, download and debug. Now we will open every block here. If you observe, the data has already been stored in 0010 location, and we'll try to run the program line by line. I'm running it line by line. You observe in the notes, and I have even expanded this status register for you, where you can observe this flag change. Okay, so R5, R9, R6, R7, all that you have to observe. So R5 is reset to 0, R9 is reset to 0. Now I am moving the current value to R6, that is 7777, and incrementing it and compare it with 1111. When I compare, it will trigger C to be 1. Here you observe C to be 1. Therefore, since it is 1, it will move to the next line. Now it is not equal, therefore it jumps to L2. Now the exchange of value is supposed to happen. Current value will move to R7. R7 will get 1111. Then decrement, that 1111 will move into the upper value. Observe that in the memory location. Now 1111 has been moved here. Right? Similarly, we are moving ahead, decrement, and 77 that is there in 6 will move it upside. Now 77 has been come to the right hand side. So we always try to keep the maximum value to the right hand side, not to the bottom side. Okay, I'm just repeating it again. So since it is compared again, it will find the same. 5555 is lower, therefore it will exchange the value and 77 comes down. Again repeating it, again checks the same, again 2222 is lower, so exchanges. Similarly, it will check 4444 is lower, so it will exchange that. Again it will check, but it will now 8888 is maximum, therefore you will see that C is triggered to 0 and N has been triggered to 1. Therefore it will jump to the L1, where L1 it will decrement R10 by itself. That means it can stop that one check has been completed. I don't have any more maximum numbers to put it down, therefore I have completed one check. Therefore it will move down to L3 and will start the new value. So now it is taking up the value that is 8888, new value that is considered, and it will move up to that value and will try to exchange that value. Can you see that 8888 has been moved now, and will continue, and it will move 3333 also is moved to the bottom. Now it is done, so it has to complete that L3 since it is now 00. Compared R10 is now reduced, therefore it will come down to value here, that is R9. R9 will be compared with 0. Still it is not 0 because we have not completed all the counts. Now it will go back to again resetting R5 and R9. Means one set of complete comparison has been done. So if you observe, the 8888 is come to the maximum that has come to the bottom. Now 77 will come to the place of 3333. That is what our next process is. So first value it will check, it is lower, so it will not exchange. But the next value is maximum, therefore 5555 will come down. Observe that 5555 has come down. Now 55 and 77 are compared, but 77 is greater, so 55 will not move. Instead 77 will be exchanged with 66. Now again 77 will be exchanged with 33. Done. Now the last value is again reset to R5 and R7 are reset to 0. Now it will again check first values. There is no change, so it will just only decrement it till the time it takes, that is 66 will be considered to be the initial value. Once it is taken, exchange. That's all. It will stop, come down. It will run till 5555, and only 55 will be exchanged with 33. Right? 55 is exchanged with 33 now. So now it will again exchange. 44 will be exchanged with 33. Right? Now that's all. So it will complete everything, and at last it will come down to every location, individual location it is checking. Now it has come down to the end of the loop. It will come to the end of the loop now, because it has to check for all values. So it will check for all values, and at the time that it has got to the 0, then it will come down to the loop jump end. And if you observe, all the data has been stored in ascending order, very properly in ascending order. Okay, this is about ascending order. Let us see the same thing, very small change. We have to just have that JNC may be changed with JC. If you change this JNC to JC, then it will become your only for that reason it has to exchange, right? So that is nothing but your whenever it is JC, then it has to exchange the data. So you can just change it to JC, then you will be able to see the decrement value. So that's all the simple program that you can see. So I'll show that also here only. You see that whenever it is compared, yeah, here we have made it as JC. That's all. So I'll only run that here. I'll just show you that JC I have made it saved. Now I'm just trying to rebuild it. This will be your decrement program. Okay. So I'm just download and debugging it now. So you are able to see that the arrangement is still the same. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm running. Now what I want is whenever the highest value is there to the left hand side, there is no exchange to happen. Therefore I'm trying to first check the first value, that is 77911. Since it is not there, it will not exchange, but the other value will be exchanged. Can you see that when the value is to the right hand side is greater, it will exchange. So 11 will automatically come down to the bottom. So when one small comparison, we are able to see that the program has been changed. So similarly, I'm just running it again and again. So I'm trying to keep on F10, pressing on F10. So 2 is now moving down to the bottom next. So 2 has been moved now. So 3 is already there, we don't have to worry about it. Now 4 will move. If you observe, 4 will move down to the bottom. So see that 4 is moving. Now 5 has to move down. The 5 will move now. See that 5 will be compared with 8 and move again with 6. It will move down. That's all. Now it is supposed to move the 7. That's all. No other values are supposed to be run. So initially the first value, that is 7 only, will run and it will exchange that value. See that 7 is run. So that means we have got the value stored in descending order. So it will check all the values once, because we have to check each and every value has got, like we are giving the rights to check, get compared with all the values in the loop, so that it will whether there is a need to execute or not. Now it has been compared. Now once R10 is become 0, then it will end the loop. So all the values have been checked. This is what R10 we had initiated with 7, right? Now it has become 0. That means it has executed for all the values. It is done. So that is how we are able to see that the values are arranged in descending order. This is about descending order. In this program we try to see how to find the largest element in the given array. Here again we are also using the memory location. We are trying to see that the data has been stored. There are like multiple data has been stored, which is random in its place. We are supposed to find the maximum here. Initially everything is same, but when we come down here, just like ascending and descending order, we try to find the maximum value in the complete array. So when the maximum value is found, we will try to store it in one place, right? When the maximum value is again replaced, we will try to replace it again. That is what we are trying to move here. Okay. So what we are doing here is we are trying to observe that the data, the maximum value is finally found at R7. That is what our final movement, R7 or R6. And later on, for the end of the loop, we are trying to move that value into 0020. This is what the location we are trying to move the data. So let us try to understand that how it is being done. So it is exactly the same way that we have done this for ascending and descending. Taking up one value, moving it into a register, comparing it with the next value. If we find that the value is current value, or if we find that the current value is greater, it will jump down to here, and so that we have found one maximum value, it will decrement R7. It is supposed to check with all the values for each and every value, and it will compare whether R10 is with R10. Since it is not there, it will move down to L3. In L3 it will move again, compare a new value. So by the time it will complete everything, we will be able to see that R6 holding the highest value, which will be moved into the location. Is it fine? So this is what the loop is running. So we can find the maximum value here. So let us try to execute now this program. I'm trying to save it first, and then I'm trying to rebuild it. Just like largest, only we are doing the same thing. Each element in the array is considered at once and will be compared with all the remaining arrays. That is what we are doing here. And we'll debug and run this program now, right? So if you observe that, again the data are there, all 3311 in random it has been stored. We'll try to execute the program now. If you see that, it will move, R5 is cleared, R9 is cleared, and R10 has been assigned with 7 to the count. Now R6 has got the new value, that is 3333. It will take compare with 1111, and we observe that it is it has got created that 3333 means previous value was 5, so it is GC, so it will come down to the value. It will check with R10, so it will go down to L3 now, jump if it is not equal to L3 and go to L3, repeatedly it will check. So if you observe in R6, the value that is there in R6 is the highest right now. It will move down to the exchange, the value will be exchanged with the highest value will be, that value will be still kept as it is, and it will move down to compare with the next value, that is 5555. 333 is now compared with 5555, and 5555 is maximum value, therefore we are moving that value into R7, right? If you observe again, it will come down, it will check for 2222, and will observe that the 2222 is still lower, therefore 5555 will remain as it is, and then it will take the next value, that is FFFF, and compare it is maximum, therefore it is moving the FFFF into R7, and it is again checking with 8888, but still it is maximum, therefore it will not move. See, observe that value for R6, every time it will keep that value as it is. Again, it is supposed to reset the value for R10, and will check, going down, verifying it, compared, now it is 0, it will check the value, yes, R6, the value it is there in R6 is still the FFFF, therefore it will move that value into 20, the 20 means here, you are supposed to observe the answer here, the answer is FFFF, so highest value in this given array is FFFF, and by that time we are end with the loop and we are stopping the loop, therefore we found the largest element, that is FFFF. So similarly you can do it for smallest. If you change it to J and C, it becomes smallest. Okay, I hope it is quite clear here. Thank you so much for. Dear students, in this program we will try to understand how the arithmetic operation can be executed by using this MSP 430. In this program we are trying to take two values. If you observe, we have two values. One is in the 0010 location, that is 4444. The other value is 0020, that is AAAA. When we try to add these values, we are expecting the values to be FFFF, and we will be trying to execute the value here. So when initially all the states are same, now we are able to see that we are trying to move the values into two different registers. The registers are R4 and R6. We are trying to move them by using indexed register addressing mode. Right now R4 has got the value that is there in 10, that is nothing but 4444, and R6 has got the new value, that is AAAA. Now we are using the keyword add. ADD is the add keyword. Since we are operating with word, we are using .w. If not, if we use add, it will work with respect to any other value for byte operation. Now we are trying to move the final answer. When you add it, this is your source. Left hand side is the source. Right hand side is also another operand and also the destination, both. So R4 and R6 behaves like the operands, and R6 also behaves like the destination address or destination register. Therefore, after adding R4 and R6, the answer will be stored in R6 itself. Therefore, we are moving the R6 value into a new memory location, that is 0030. So this is for understanding the location. Now let us try to execute the program. And for subtraction, we have to just change this add to subtract. That's all. The answer will be shown. We will use the same program. We'll try to see that. Okay. So first of all, I'm saving it. Now I'm gonna rebuild it. No errors. Therefore, I'm going to debug it. So when I debug, I have got this program. Now, if you observe here, we don't need any status register. We are supposed to go with only R4 and R6. So kindly go on observing this R4 and R6 values. Okay. So now the value will be R5. We have cleared it. R4, the indexed addressing mode R5 is cleared for index addressing. R4 will get the new value, that is 4444. R6 will get the value AAAA. After addition, automatically R6 will be altered to EEEE. Okay, the answer is EEEE, and the answer is supposed to be moved here into 0030. Observe that the answer is moved into the 0030, it is EEEE, right? So this is about addition. So if we speak about subtraction, and I'll just change it, I want to take the maximum to see. Now the value I have changed it as sub. So this is the keyword, that is sub. Now R6 is greater than R4, therefore I have to write it like R4 to be subtracted by R6, and answer is stored into R4 itself. Therefore I'll use it in the R4 location. Okay, again the same thing, saving it. I'm gonna rebuild it. See, while writing the program, you are supposed to follow everything properly, create the project, and then take a new file and then type the program in it. So till then you don't do it in the same file. And just for explanation purpose, I'm trying to do it on a single file, right? So if you observe now, we have two data now here like this, and I'm trying to run now. So if you observe that, R4 will get same, both are not changing those values at all. So if you observe that, the answer is moved. The answer is 9A99 is the answer for, after subtracting AA means 4444 out of AAAA. So this is how the subtraction can be done. Dear students, here we will continue with understanding the another arithmetic operation, that is multiplication and also division. Multiplication, we do not have a proper keyword to execute multiplication directly on this MSP 430. So what we are going to do now is, we try to use addition operation, the arithmetic addition operation, to do the multiplication operation. As we all know that if you want to multiply two numbers, it is nothing but addition of a common number multiple times this whatever the number that is to the right hand side. That means if suppose I want to multiply 2 into 2, if I add 2 times, then the answer will be same as that of the multiplication. The same concept we are trying to use here. We are trying to use two numbers. One is that 1, 2, 3, 4, which is there at 0, 0, 1, 0, and one more value, that is ABCD, at the other value, that is 0, 0, 2, 0. We have to understand one more thing here. There is always a chance of getting a carry. More than the carry, we may get any number, not just one. So that is one of the important thing we have to keep in mind. If we are using the byte address or byte data to multiply, the answer would be in terms of word. If you are trying to multiply word data, we may get the answer in terms of two words. So we should be ready to store both the words in location. So we try to see that how this execution is done. Here we are taking two values, that is nothing but 10 value is moved into R4, the other value is moved into R9, right? Here both R4 and R9 we are using. After moving the data, what we are doing is we are initiating the value of R8 to 0, and R4 is moved into R6 because R6 should supposed to hold the value, that is how many number of times that we are supposed to add them, right? So that is what we are doing. We are subtracting 1 times the R6. That means R6 will be just one lesser than that of the total count whatever we have. Then R9 is moved into R7 because we are trying to keep the values of R4 and R9 as it is, not varying it for future purposes. Now what we are doing is R7 and R9 are added. So we are trying to add those two values, and we are trying to add those two values. Means what? R9 value and R7 value are same. So we are supposed to add the same number some number of times, right? If suppose I am multiplying 4 3 times, means I am supposed to add 4 3 times. I'll add 4 plus 4 plus 4. So that is what we are doing. R7 and R9 have the same value, therefore it will be added, and then we will try to see if there is no carry. If there is no carry, then it will jump down to L2 and it will try to decrement the word of R6. Means we are reducing the count, how many number of times it has to add. That will decrement and will do the job. If suppose there is a carry, then what it will do is it will increment the R8. Means how many number of carries are generated, that it will check. When you are adding, highest amount of carry that you would get is 1 only, right? So that we will get the count of R8, how many number of carries are generated, that we will try to see. So then it will come down, R6 will be reduced, and it will check whether it is not 0. When it is not 0, it will try to move the value into a location, that is 0030, whereas the other value, that whatever that we are trying to move with respect to R8 will be moved into 30, and the next value, that answer that we will get in R9, because we are trying to store the value in R9 only. So that will be moved into the next location of 30. Next word will be moved into the next word of 30. So this part, initial part, will be the number of increments we get, and this part will be the answer that we get in terms of sum. So we are supposed to expect the answer to be stored very properly. Let us try to execute this program. I have stored it, I have saved it, now I am executing it. I find no errors here, there are no errors, therefore I will debug the program and we will be able to see that there are two values that are stored here, that is 1, 2, 3, 4 and ABCD. Let us try to run the program now, going ahead, now clearing R5, the moving R4, the first value to R4, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, then to R9, that is ABCD, then we are trying to add zeros to the 8, which is actually carrying the carry values, all the carry values it will hold, and then R4 is moved into R6, means we are trying to keep a copy, and R9 and R7 we are trying to move, so we will make the common, that is R9 and R7 are quite common now. Now we are trying to add them, so we are able to see that now R9 has been changed. Is there a carry that we are supposed to check? We are able to check it in the status register. Yes, there is a carry, and definitely there is a overflow, there is a carry. Once there is a carry, it will increment R8. You observe that R8 is incremented by 1, and again it will come down, reduce R6, move it up, again do the same thing. For every addition there is an increment of 1 is added to 8. So once after completing that value, you are supposed to observe R6 for that condition. R6 has to come down. It has to come down like 1, 2, 3, 4 to 0. It is supposed to come down. So we just have to hold it on, like it is supposed to execute to the complete end. So I am just completing it to the end. Therefore, I can go and click on go directly. It will execute the complete value. It will completely execute the value, and it will store the value by the end. So it has come to the end of the loop now. So therefore you are able to see that there is a value, the multiplication value, that is 370C, or that means it is actually 0C374FA4 is the answer. You can verify that. So if you want to let us try to make it as simple as possible to understand, because we don't want to make it a complex number too, which we cannot easily understand. So I'll make it as like 0004, and I'll make it as 000A. A is nothing but 10, 4 is nothing but it's exactly 4. We are supposed to go to 40. 40 we are supposed to consider it in terms of hexadecimal number, and then we are supposed to check it. Okay, we'll try to see that there are no errors. I'm trying to execute. You are able to see that 0A and 04, 04 and 0A. That's all we have. I'm continuing the execution. I have done completed execution, and you are able to see that there is no left hand side, there will be no carry, just it will be 28. That's all is the answer. 40 is nothing but 2 times is 32. 32 is 2 times, therefore it is 2, and 8 is the carry, which we will write it together, that is nothing but 28. That is the answer. I hope it is clear. So just like that only, if multiplication we can do like this, the same way we can do the subtraction also, means division also. Instead of addition, we are supposed to go for subtraction, right? So we will try to take another number which is quite higher. I'll try to take a different number, which can be easily divisible by a common number. So I'll take A only for our current purpose. I'm using 2 now. Instead of addition, we will do subtraction here. Is it fine? So we are trying to use the next one, whatever that we have here. We are supposed to subtract that number by this, means this small change that you need to keep is, instead of subtracting the same number with the same number, we are supposed to subtract it with the other number. Instead of that, we are supposed to do it for current number. We are supposed to check how many number of subtractions have happened. That also we are supposed to keep in mind. So we will try to see that. I'll show you the program here. See that we are subtracting it every time, and we are trying to increment that count. So how many times the subtraction happened is the division, right? So that is what we are doing here. I'll try to reduce the count, means value, so that we can understand it easily. Can you see that it is 4? We are supposed to divide by, means we are supposed to divide f by 4. So that is what we are doing here. We'll see that the answer is stored into 30. same as that of the previous one. We are trying to save it into 30. Right? I'm saving it now. I'm trying to run now. There should be no errors now. It's fine. I'm debugging it. Let us try to execute. You are able to see that 4 and F. You are able to see that. I'm running it without stopping it. I try to see, and I see that the answer is 3, 3. 3 is there on one side. That is nothing but 0, 0, 0, 3, and then 0, 0, 0, 3. 0, 0, 0, 3 is the value that is to be kept. That is to be stored. That's all the value is. Means 3 times we are able to divide, and 3 is the this is the division number, and this is the carry that we are left out with. Means 3 is the carry that is left out with. Means if you divide, F is nothing but 15. 4, if you divide 15 by 4, it will 3 times it is 12, and remainder is also 3. That is what we have here shown. So remainder is stored. Remainder is stored here first, and then we are storing the division value. See, if you observe here, this is the remainder that we are storing, and R6 is storing the quotient. So this is how the division is done. Dear students, in this program we will try to understand how the increment and decrement operations are done by using MSP on MSP 430. Here if you observe, I have taken only one data that I have tried to store, that is in this ORG, that is 0010. The value is 4. So I have initially taken the value as 4, and how many times I want to increment, that I am trying to specify here into R6, and that is a number of times, that is nothing but 10, right? So I can just write the value as 10 increments we want. 10 increments we are expecting. So initially I'm clearing the value of R5 and trying to address by using index addressing mode. I'm taking the value into R4. So R4 now holds the actual value, that is the value that was stored in the memory. Now I am incrementing. If by using the keyword that is increment, I am incrementing the value of R4. How many times I have to increment? Every time I increment, I am decrementing the value of R6. So you can understand both incrementing operation and decrementing operation here. And means using incrementing operation, R4 is incremented. Using decrementing operation, R6 is decremented. Again, use of W is again an option. We don't have to use it every time. If there are two different higher and lower bits, if you don't use W, then the higher bit will not move. Only the decrement, only the lower bit will be decremented or incremented. Therefore, it is always advised to use W if you are speaking in terms of words always. So this can be of in this term, that is incrementing R4, or else we also have an option of adding 1 to the register R4, and R4 stores the answer there. So I am decrementing R6 to get the count, means to get this 10 times increment count, and at the end we will try to store it into R4. Till the time it becomes 0, it will be running inside this loop itself, right? So we have 4, we will add a to it, and therefore it becomes 14. 14 can be shown in terms of hexadecimal, it is E. So we had supposed to get the answer in terms of E. Let us observe both R4 incrementing and R6 decrementing. So I am trying to save it. Check the program did it. There are no errors. Therefore I will debug the program. And here if you observe, initially the value of 4 is already there. I am supposed to move it into R4. So I am moving it now. Initially the value is R4 is moved. So if you observe that R5 is cleared, and R4 gets the value of 4, and R6 gets the value of A, because it is supposed to count. And if you observe that, it will increment R4. Once it is incremented, it becomes 5, decrements R6, and will compare and move back, increment and decrement R6. Observe, every time we are able to see that it will increment R4, decrement R6 by one value till the time it becomes 0, means R6 becomes 0. By the time R6 becomes 0, you are able to see that the answer is E in the R4. R4 value is supposed to be moved into this address, that is nothing but 20. Can you see that the answer is E now? So this is all about increment and decrement operation using the keywords inc, inc and decrement dec. I hope